What's going on, Sketchware Android developers? Today, I'm going to teach you guys everything you need to know about how to set up your database for Sketchware and Firebase. Let's level up our coding knowledge a little bit more in 2024. Droidly Codes. Welcome back, Sketchware Android developers. Today, I'm going to teach you about database. I'm going to teach you about database using Sketchware, that is, in regards to adding data, changing data, and removing data from the database, and learning about how to add data to specific child keys like we kind of did in our very first episode of this series, or part of this series, or this playlist, whatever you want to call it. My name is MisterDNEH. I'm going to be your teacher for teaching you how to use Sketchware the best way I know how, as I've been using it since 2017, and I've been developing for Android for almost a decade. So I kind of know a little bit about this kind of stuff, and I've taught you guys this before in the past, but I rebranded the channel to Droidly Codes. So welcome to Droidly Codes. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and comment if you have any questions. I will try to answer them as best as I can if they haven't been answered in this video already. So in our last episode, yes, we ended up creating a database. We created an application, we set up our database, and we sent some data. We sent some data based off of this user right here. And this user's name is MisterDNEH, and he is 75 years old, and his username is MisterDNEH. So that is not really the most sensible way to do things, but we're going to just work with that today. I'm going to teach you things about how to use authentication down the road and storage and all that kind of stuff so that we can actually utilize everything inside of our Firebase database to create a simple, cool little chat application where you can talk back and forth between two different devices. Let's click back, get out of here. Oops. Go forward again. There it is. We're going to go back into Sketchware. Now, in our last video, we ended up setting up our onChild added. We added our onChild changed and our onChild removed. So each one of these is pretty self-explanatory. So when something is added to a specific child, a child is this little piece of code right here, or this little line right here. This is the child. That is the child that we're looking for. Sounds kind of funny, but that is what we're going to be looking for today. And we're also going to add another child. So we're going to add another username, for example, to this database so that we can change the data based off of that child if we are logged in to that child's actual account. So that is how I like to make it seem a little bit more easier for those that don't understand what that means. So what I mean by that is that when I go into my onChild change, I'm going to do an if statement in here, my control operator blocks, and I'm going to grab an operator block called equals. So there it is right here. If child e equals MisterDNEH. So obviously this isn't going to be the most sensible way to do things, but we're just going to manually type things in just to keep it easy to understand what you're doing. If it equals MisterDNEH, we're going to grab our text information. So to our text view, the same one that we used the last time, we're going to check our map variable key from the data that is being redirected back to us. So when the child is changed, a whole bunch of map data is being redirected back to us inside of our actual application. I will show you what that looks like as well after we're done doing this. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to check that child map data, so the value of that data, and we're going to get the key for age, which is A. So that's just our key to check what the age is when the child changes. So we're going to go back again, and we can technically just copy this, and we're going to paste this into our collection on the right hand side. So if equals, and this is kind of a cool way to copy and paste stuff, just like so, if child equals, so that we can go into our onChild removed, and we can go and grab that if child equals block right here, and we can paste it right there as well. So this is if child removed. So there's a block for that as well. So let's click save. Now that we've saved it, we're going to go to view, and we're going to go to our widgets. We're going to go grab our edit text block. And what we're going to do with this edit text block, this is basically like a block that you use to type things in with. We're going to go into our event tab. We're going to go to view. We're going to go to send data. And we're going to change that data based off of whatever we enter in that edit text block. So go to your little puzzle icon, go to your view, and then go all the way down to where it says text view, get text. We're going to get the text of whatever we enter inside that text view. So select that, and drag it into the map data put key value of A. The other thing is I removed the clear block from the send data because that was causing issues when we were sending data to the database, because we were clearing that out before we can even handle it. So that was a big issue that some people have had and asked me about before in the past. So don't use that clear block. We're just gonna send the data, and then we're going to send new data based off of information we enter in that edit text block. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to save it, we're going to run it again, and we're going to actually send some new data to the database. We'll be able to see this live data as well. So I'm going to wait until this is done installing, click update, click open. Now I'm going to go down into my Google Chrome, and I'm going to put my Google Chrome at the top so you guys can see the data being changed live on the actual Google Chrome app. And we're going to send the data from our actual application by typing in I love apples, just like so. And now we've just sent that data to the database for our age. Our age is now I love apples, and that database has received that information and sent that data back to us. It's very, very quick. Usually, depending on your internet connection, it's very quick no matter what. So if I go in here again and do the same thing, I am 34 years old. I send the data. I've sent the data. I received it to that text view that's right here. There's the data over here inside of our online database. So this is very cool for many, many reasons, because now we can basically talk to another person if we wanted to. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to grab some more edit text fields here. We're going to grab one right here. We're going to create a username, and we're going to change this edit text to enter your age. So we're going to change the name of this ID of this edit text to age. And we're going to do a little hint, which is down here, enter age, just like so. Okay, so that's our hint. Now this one's going to be our username. So we're going to change the ID as username. We're going to go down to our little hint, enter username. And like I said in the last video, I'm kind of teaching you some stuff that maybe you don't know, and learn how to navigate your XML layouts and all that kind of stuff as well to create a simple application just like this. And you can turn it into a non-simple application and maybe upload it to the Google Play Store, or maybe just share it between you and your friends. You want to have a private chat application that only your friends know about, and you all have Android devices, and you want to talk about Jim Bob over in Gymland, then there you go. You have a private application that Google can't watch, I guess. So now we're going to create another button. We're going to rename this button create user, just like so. And then we're going to give it a text ID of create user. So this is just basically knowing that this button is going to create the user, and this is the button that's going to send the new data. Now we're going to click save. We're going to go into our event tab. We're going to go to view and click on create user. Now we're going to go into our on click event, and we're going to send some new data to the database when we click this button by using our variable map block variables. We're going to grab our put key variable blocks, and we're going to select all of these drop downs just like so. And we're going to put this up here, and we're going to use U for username, A for age, and my username is going to be based off my view, my edit text field that we ended up entering here. And we're going to get our username information from here. Now, we didn't create an edit text for our age. Actually, technically we did. We did create an edit text for our age, and that can be changed afterwards. So we're going to use this edit text for age, and we're going to use the same one to change our age as well down the road. So let's go to our little puzzle piece icon, go to component, and now we're going to go all the way down until we see Firebase, add key based off this map value to our Firebase Jam. And then we're going to add our key based off the username that we enter in here. And that's going to allow us to create a new username key value based off of whatever our new username is. Our new username can be Jimmy or Bobby or Sally or whatever the case may be. That is always going to be our username for that key value. Now we're going to go back out. We're going to save this. And once we send that data to the database, our onChild added that we ended up setting up in our last video is going to notice that information if we are logged into that user specifically. Now, I'm going to show you something that happens when we send that data, because it's not going to do anything, because right now our onChild key is only looking for data based off of the username MisterDNEH. So let's do a quick test run. We'll run this. And now I'm going to enter my age as 76, and I'm going to enter my username as Sally. Okay, I'm going to create a user. I have created a user in my Jam folder on my database called Sally. Now, again, we didn't get any new information to our text view up here, because this is only checking if anything has changed for MisterDNEH or for anything added to MisterDNEH, for example. So that is not going to do anything, because we're not checking for Sally's information at all. So how we do that? So now what we're going to do is we're going to change this if statement block, and we're going to go to our view section. We're going to go all the way down to our text view. We're going to change this to checking for that username inside of that text view. So now we have to enter a username, for example, and this is where I said it's not really a logical way to do this, because authentication helps with checking to make sure that you're actually logged into the account and giving access to your UID, which is a private piece of information. So I'm not going to get into that. Whereas this way, if say I had access to this database and I knew what your username was, I could change a whole bunch of stuff, because I know what that username is and that child key is set to MisterDNEH, for example. I could just mess around with your database and change your images, change your name, change all that kind of stuff, maybe log you out. I can do all that kind of stuff, where the UID that is associated with your actual email address and password, yes, we're going to set all that kind of stuff up, is specific to your specific actual account. So let's grab that last one in child removed, and I'm going to show you on child removed right at the end of this. And we're going to go to text view, username, and now when we enter our username specifically to our edit text field, so if we enter Sally and we want to change Sally's age, for example, then we will be able to check for that. So let's go open. Now, as you notice, no data has been received. The reason why is because we don't have a username specifically in here. So if I go MisterDNEH and I go send data, I just sent some non-data whatsoever to the database to my age. So if I go 67, I send that data. I am now getting that data from my database. So I'm going to show you the database at the top. And there we go. There it is, changing. So now if I change this for MisterDNEH again to 60 or 32, there it is, changing. There it is, receiving back. Now again, if we do this again with Sally, so Sally's data. So now we've entered the username for Sally. Now we're going to change Sally's information to not 76. We're going to go 89. Then the data, we've sent the data to Sally. Oops. And my mistake. So I just double checked why this wasn't working. It was because I got ahead of myself here. So the reason why I got ahead of myself is because we ended up trying to send data specific to only MisterDNEH. So I had to backtrack, and that's why it wasn't working for a second there. So I do make mistakes myself. So there you go. So that was a little test if you guys were paying attention. So let's grab our view, our edit text field, and we're going to drag and drop that into our put data, send data, and we're going to send our data. We're not going to change any information for our username, so we don't need to send our username information again or anything like that, because our child key is already set up that way, right? So let's get rid of that. We're only changing our data for our age. And now when we actually go into the application and send the data to the database based off of the user that we enter, that data will change accordingly. So let's click update, click open. Now let's split the screens up. Now I'm going to enter my username as Sally, enter my age as 32, and I'm going to send this data, and there we go. There's 32. Now if I change my username to MisterDNEH again, and I send data, there's 32, but we won't see anything different here. So let's go 90, and there we go, 99. We changed the data because we're looking for that specific data to the user that is actually entered in here and logged into the actual database. So the next thing you're probably wondering, how do we remove that data or that child key, for example? So we're going to grab another button. We're going to change this to remove. and remove. Now this would be good for something like, hey, I want to remove this user from this database or something like that. So we're going to go down into our view block. We're going to go down to our components in our puzzle piece icon. Scroll all the way down, keep going until you see Firebase. And then we're going to delete key. So we're going to grab that delete key based off of the user that we enter inside of our text block. So we're going to look for that text edit text block right here that we enter the username for. And we're going to delete that key. That's going to delete the whole profile of that user. We're going to click run and we're going to watch the magic happen. Click update, click open. Now let's split up our screens again. Now we're going to enter MisterDNEH and we're going to delete them. Let's get rid of them. Goodbye, MisterDNEH. You are now kicked off my database for eternity. So there it goes. We have learned the fundamentals of adding data, changing data, and removing data from our database using Firebase and Sketchware Pro. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to share for anybody that needs to learn how to use their database with Sketchware Pro, because I like showing database stuff and teaching others how to use database stuff. I'm going to say stuff because it is actually very important for a lot of fundamental applications. Like, for example, Facebook, Snapchat, Discord, any of those kind of social media platforms. They use some sort of database, Reddit, all that kind of stuff to host all their information, just like this. But it's a little bit more complex than that. So let's jump over to our next section if you want to learn about using your storage on your Firebase database. See you next time. Enjoy coding.